Friends, we know Josh Duggar has always thought he was a little smarter than everyone else, right? But did he really believe that whatever he wrote or said while sitting inside prison would stay secret forever? Today, I'm going to tell you a shocking truth, one that might make you laugh, or honestly, just leave you stunned by Josh's stupidity. I don't even know myself. Just think about it for a second. Did Josh forget that every email, every text message, and even every phone call inside a federal prison is secretly monitored and recorded? Or did he actually think the prison rules simply didn't apply to him? In today's video, I'll show you how Josh's so-called private messages have now become a thorn in his own throat. Today, I'm revealing explosive prison records and hidden secrets that nobody has told you before. And trust me, watch this video until the very end, because halfway through, I'm going to share the details of a strange phone call that could expose the entire Duggar family. So come on, friends, let's begin today's high-voltage video. Josh Duggar is currently serving time in a federal prison camp after pleading guilty to child sexual abuse charges. And ever since he entered the federal prison system, people have become increasingly curious about what life is really like behind those walls. Not just emotionally, but technologically, too. How much surveillance is there? How much privacy does an inmate actually have? And how do certain prison messages suddenly end up leaking into public conversations online? Now, many people imagine surveillance like a Hollywood movie. Secret hackers, hidden cameras, government agents reading messages inside a dark control room. But the truth is far less dramatic, and honestly, much more uncomfortable. Because in federal prison, most communications are openly monitored. Inmates are told this from the very beginning. And that's the part many people ignore. Josh Duggar was not hacked. The entire prison system itself is built around surveillance. And honestly, that's what makes this story so fascinating. When Josh entered federal custody, he became part of a communication system that prisons across the United States already use every day. These systems handle inmate emails, phone calls, and sometimes messaging services. One of the biggest companies connected to prison communications is Securus Technologies. Securus provides communication platforms for correctional facilities. That includes monitored phone systems, messaging platforms, and digital communication logs. And these systems are not advertised as private conversations. In fact, users are repeatedly warned that their messages and calls may be monitored or recorded. That warning is legally important. Every inmate using these systems usually sees notices explaining that their communications are subject to review. And family members receiving calls often hear automated recordings before the conversation even begins. So whenever people online ask, how did authorities get those messages? The answer is actually very simple. The messages were already stored inside the prison communication system. That's it. No secret cyber operation, no illegal spying, just institutional surveillance, which inmates automatically agree to when they pick up the phone or log into the terminal. And honestly, I think that's even more shocking than hacking, because it shows just how much privacy disappears once someone enters federal custody. Josh Duggar's case becomes even more interesting because long before prison, he was already one of the most talked about reality TV personalities in America. For years, audiences watched the Duggar family on 19 Kids and Counting and later on Counting. On, The family built their image around strict religious values, family structure, and morality. But that image had already been heavily damaged by earlier scandals before Josh's federal sentencing. So the moment he entered prison, public curiosity exploded. People wanted details. How does he communicate with Anna Duggar? What restrictions does he face? Does he still influence family decisions? What is daily life actually like? And because of that curiosity, an entire online ecosystem formed where every tiny prison-related update suddenly became major discussion material. Now, this is where things get complicated. Technically, some prison communications can become available through court documents, investigations, legal filings, or public reports. But ethically, that's a much harder conversation. And we'll come back to that in a moment. First, it's important to understand how these prison systems actually work. Federal prison inmates generally do not have unrestricted internet access. They can't freely browse social media or open personal Gmail accounts like people at home. Their communication happens through tightly controlled systems. Messages are usually text-based and sent through monitored platforms. Phone calls are recorded. Contact lists must be pre-approved. Even handwritten letters can sometimes be inspected. Now, prison authorities argue that this level of surveillance helps prevent criminal activity, witness tampering, harassment, fraud, or illegal coordination from inside prison. And historically, officials have pointed to many cases where monitored communications uncovered serious misconduct. That's the official reasoning, but here's why this matters. Many people still assume prison communications are just as private as normal conversations outside prison. Legally and practically, that simply isn't true. Once someone is incarcerated, expectations of privacy change completely. And in Josh Duggar's case, every interaction becomes even more interesting because people already know who he is. Most prisoners never become tabloid headlines. But Josh does. And honestly, it creates this strange mix of true crime culture, celebrity culture, and reality television obsession, all combined together. What's especially striking is how quickly prison records can become part of public discussion. And honestly, that's the uncomfortable part. Online communities focused on the Duggar family often analyze prison updates in extreme detail. People discuss visitation schedules, prison transfers, communication restrictions, and legal filings almost like sports statistics. Some viewers call this accountability. Others call it an invasion of privacy. And honestly, both sides raise important arguments. One side says Josh Duggar committed a serious crime and willingly became a public figure through reality television. Because of that, public scrutiny is expected. The other side argues that even convicted criminals still deserve some level of human dignity and personal privacy. And turning every prison message into online entertainment can cross ethical boundaries. That debate becomes even more intense when family members are involved. For example, Anna Duggar remains one of the most discussed people in this entire situation. Her decisions, her loyalty, and her communication with Josh constantly become public talking points. So anytime alleged prison messages or communication logs appear online, attention immediately shifts toward her. And that creates another layer of psychological complexity. Because unlike Josh, Anna has not been convicted of any crime. Yet she continues living under intense public scrutiny. And this is important because prison surveillance doesn't affect only inmates. It affects everyone connected to them: spouses, parents, siblings, friends, and sometimes even children. The surveillance stretches outward, and I think many people don't fully realize that until they hear the automated prison recording themselves. This call is being monitored and recorded. That one sentence changes everything. Now, another important distinction here is the difference between surveillance and publication. Surveillance means prison authorities legally monitor or review communications. Publication is something entirely different. Just because information exists inside a system does not automatically mean it should become public entertainment. And this is where media ethics become very complicated. Some prison-related information reaches the public through court documents. Some comes through investigative journalism. Some comes from sources connected to prison staff or inmates. And sometimes, detailed claims spread online without any clear verification at all. That's why it's so important to separate confirmed public information from rumors. Especially in a case as emotional and controversial as Josh Duggar's. I think one reason people are drawn to this story is because it destroys the illusion of control. For years, the Duggar family carefully managed their public image. Television appearances were planned, interviews were controlled, public statements were polished. But prison changed all of that completely. Inside federal custody, the institution controls the system. Not the prisoner, not the family, not the PR team. And in many ways, that loss of control became symbolic. Even the smallest prison communication now exists inside a structure built around surveillance. That's a dramatic shift for someone who once lived in front of television cameras while carefully protecting a family image. Another fascinating part of this story is how technology has transformed prison life over the last 20 years. Years ago, inmates mainly relied on handwritten letters and monitored landline calls. Today, many prisons use digital systems with searchable records and electronic logs. That means communications now leave behind massive digital trails. Messages can be time-stamped. Accounts can be connected. Communication history can be reviewed. Usage patterns can be tracked. And again, this isn't secret surveillance in the traditional sense. These systems were intentionally designed this way. Why does that matter? Because digital communication creates permanent records in ways older prison systems never could. Even a simple message today could remain stored inside a database for years. And for famous figures like Josh Duggar, that permanence increases the chance that private details eventually become public. Now, to be fair, prison surveillance is not unique to Josh Duggar. It happens every single day across the federal prison system, but his celebrity status changes the level of public attention. If an unknown inmate sends a monitored message, almost nobody outside prison cares. But when Josh Duggar communicates, entire online communities immediately begin speculating. That's the reality of being both a convicted criminal and a former reality TV star at the same time. And honestly, I think there's another reason people are fascinated by this story. Because it reveals how modern surveillance already works in everyday life. Most people outside prison still assume digital privacy is automatic. But companies already collect enormous amounts of data through phones, apps, and online platforms. Friends, how did you like the first story? Honestly, when I capture these little moments on camera, I enjoy it myself too. I don't just see myself as a video creator. I feel like a friend, someone who simply wants to bring a smile to your face. At the end of the day, your beautiful comments and your love are what make all this hard work feel worthwhile. Now come on, let's move to the next story, because after hearing this one, your heart might feel very different. Josh Duggar and his wife Anna Duggar's alleged prison letters reportedly leaked online, and now people are discussing them everywhere. According to reports, while in prison, Josh allegedly described intimate fantasies in detail and requested provocative pictures from Hannah in several explicit messages. While being held at the Washington County Detention Center in Arkansas, Josh reportedly sent Anna multiple sexually charged messages. In one message obtained by People, Josh allegedly wrote, "I miss you, my love. I miss sitting in the shower with you, rubbing your body. I miss seeing you get dressed. I miss seeing you look sexy." In the same message, he reportedly congratulated Anna for weighing less than expected and suggested she buy something low-cut. He later added, "Can you try on the dress and send me a picture wearing your bra and panties? Or maybe try the swimsuit for the private pool. Anyway, you should order a two-piece swimsuit since summer is coming soon. Something fun and exciting." Josh reportedly ended the message by expressing love for Anna and including several emojis he frequently used in NSFW messages. A few days later, Josh allegedly sent Anna another similar message, again using the same emojis. He then reportedly added, "P.S. If requested, hinted, implied, or otherwise, send the picture ASAP lol." About a week later, Josh allegedly texted Anna again, saying he had received a photo. At the end of that message, he reportedly wrote, "I can't wait for us to be alone again. I miss you all so much. What are you thinking about today that you miss? Tell me later." Most of these messages were reportedly sent during the same month Josh was sentenced to 151 months in federal prison for receiving and possessing child sexual abuse material. Just days before sentencing, Josh allegedly wrote to Hannah saying, "I have some great ideas about what we can do." Among those ideas were things like massages and something relaxing. Josh reportedly added, "And then we can really have fun, when we can truly relax." So many memories are flooding my mind right now. He also repeatedly requested pictures from Hannah. In one message, he allegedly told her, "Your sexy cleavage is amazing. Thanks for thinking of me." Around the same period, Josh reportedly revealed he had developed a new hobby, writing. In another message, he allegedly wrote emotionally about shared memories, adventure, intimacy, and his feelings toward Hannah. He described her as beautiful, sexy, precious, beloved, and the woman of his dreams. And finally, Josh reportedly ended one of the messages with a long string of affectionate emojis and symbols.